Ladies and gentlemen, order in the court. Today's proceedings, Sons of People versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down. Bosses refusing to pay out. Hit and run leave you stunned. Drug lords in your future? Well, maybe not. Because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll get you the defense you deserve. But only if you say the words.
Oh no, I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh wait, I know. Better Call Saul. So without further ado, it's time to start judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
All right, that's right, Dragon. We are back. Better late than never, right? We're here talking about episode 4 of Better Call Saul. You know, it's pretty close to the time that episode 5 is airing, but we're getting this in before episode 5. We're doing our due diligence to catch up. So, Dragon, episode 4, Namaste. Dragon, you know what I'm drinking this episode? I'm not even kidding when I say this.
Tea?
I'm drinking tea. I'm drinking tea.
I would hope so.
It's time to get into the Howard Hamlin tea of it all, Dragon. This is the big Howard Hamlin episode. All right, so before we get there and into the very clever cold open and everything, Dragon, let's go through the credits as we always do.
Yeah, so this one it's quite simple. It's both directed and written by the same guy.
Oh, there you go.
This is a rarity as well. This rarely happens, and in this case, this is the directorial debut of one of our favorite writers on Better Call Saul, Gordon Smith.
Oh, okay.
Of course,
okay.
Gordon Smith famously kind of burst onto the screen running with 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
Did 5-0. He wrote Rico and Kashada. Of course, Gordon Smith's big claim to fame is that he actually, I believe, has a sister who is a lawyer. So that's kind of where he gets a lot of his lead. Basically, he's the go-to guy. And also, I believe he did, I can't remember, I think he did Chicanery as well. I think he wrote that one, too.
I think so. That sounds familiar, yeah.
Point being, Gordon Smith, he's the guy with the legal knowledge, as well as he's the schemer in terms of like your Koshada bus scam, and he's your really heartfelt Mike stuff with 5-0. That's kind of where Gordon Smith leans at the end of the day. He's very much kind of the go-to guy for a lot of that. So, directorial debut, and I think he did a superb job. I really do.
He did a bang-up job, Dragon. A bang-up job.
Eddie did. Eddie did.
Ooh. All right. So, Dragon, we start our cold open at a place that I am very familiar with. You know, I happen to work in one of these places, a thrift store.
I thought you'd get a kick out of this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, fortunately, I'm glad I'm not behind the register. I'm in the alley taking the donations, which I think is the much more fun job. But I digress. I did get a kick out of this thrift store location. Dragon, did it give you some Toy Story 4 vibes? Because it did me.
A little bit. So, really interesting cold open, where essentially, as we'll learn later...
I love how this cold open pays off, Dragon, because this is a classic Breaking Bad style cold open of, like, when you see it, you have no idea what's going on. You're like, how the hell does this tie into anything? Vince Gilligan's lost it. Now, I know Vince Gilligan... of course, Vince Gilligan is just, like, you know, a catch-all term these days for the writers, but you know what I mean.
Peter Gould, Vince Gilligan, kind of like the brains behind the show. Guy with the snack food being Vince Gilligan, Peter Gould being the other.
Right. But seriously, man, I was like, okay, this is going a long way. Like, I do not know what the payoff is going to be, and I love the payoff. We'll get there.
Oh yeah. All right. So we're in this thrift shop. So Jimmy, he's we're kind of taking this as a sequence, seeing it's going to come to full view later. Jimmy He's browsing for heavy items that presumably he can toss to do some damage. That was like my assumption going like, I guess he's gonna throw it somehow. I mean, I don't know why. It's like the first thing he picks up, I think, is like the TV or the tea kettle.
Mm-hmm.
So the point being, he's going all sorts of random items, like small TVs that have like handles on the top, going to like kind of these cast iron tea kettles and weights. Yes. Oh, the tea. We actually, if you look at it that way, we actually have two tea references because we have the metal tea kettle, sure. And we're going to have tea time mentioned.
We are going to have the tea time mentioned. You're absolutely right.
Right. So he's looking for weights. He's like looking like tie irons, looking at all the various items that he could throw at this gag with a golf club where he accidentally hits some stuff. Like, oh god, he just doesn't want to cause a big stir. He has to do little subtle things. So then he lands on the bowling balls, like these seemingly like not wooden, but like wood paneled bowling balls. The point being, like these bowling balls that kind of seem to do the trick, like light enough to throw, but also have like a way you can throw them without with the fingers, the finger holes and everything. So he asks, how much for this? I can let that go for 30. So he kind of bargains with her, like 3 for 75. So he kind of walks out of there with 3 bowling balls, and Tiki yet again. It's like if this were any other show, I'd raise an eyebrow. I'd say, wait a minute. What is the significance of any of this? The only time I've ever, literally, the thing I keep saying about Better Call Saul, I would argue could be a perfect show because I've never had a gripe with it. The only gripe I only had one. I only wavered one time, and I felt so stupid when I did it. At the end of episode 8 in season 2. When Mike's like washing the garden hose and everything, I had no idea. Like, that's how you're gonna end your episode. I've been, of course, nailed. Start of the episode. Spike strip.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
They're going with it again. Like the show, it's batting 100 still. So again, like at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't know where this is going, but I'm not gonna question it again. I learned from last time. I'm not gonna question it. We're moving on. But also, great full circle little mirror shot here with as he closes the door as he walks out. Little bells jingle, but not just like little alarm bell whenever you walk into a place. It's these kind of chimes, these fancy little chimes, little Namaste-esque, one could argue. Little Zen.
Yeah, a little bit. All right. So yeah, like I said, Dragon, I'm a really big fan of this cold open specifically because of the head scratching, like WTF quality of it. All right.
So we check in with chronologically where we left off with the last episode. So it's the morning after Saul Goodman. And this I'm interested to get your read on this opening. Well, not the opening, on this section of the episode here. My read on this is we've seen Jimmy and Kim kind of wake up in kind of a post-coital sense. So this is Saul Goodman and Kim Wexler waking up in a post-coital sense.
For the first time.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's like the first time like she's woken up with. I think it's Saul Goodman rather than Jimmy McGill waking up with her in this scene.
Sure, I can see
because
that.
We just see the first shots that we see him building up to them in bed is we see like the carnage and the damage of the room where there's pizza boxes open, there's like the beers like dripping out of like anything they had left from the container when they ran off with it after they were like throwing beer bottles off the side of the balcony, and we have a rather exposed Saul Goodman, which I don't know if it's either again the Saul Goodman at all or I could be wrong. I could be reading into this. We know eventually Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad. I don't know how they're going to approach this. They don't necessarily have to, but Saul Goodman heavier in Breaking Bad than he is in Better Call Saul. I wonder if they're going to put some weight on him through the course of the series. I wonder.
We'll see. Maybe Odenkirk's going to method act it, man. Maybe he's going to pull a Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Go on the hamburger diet.
It's either that or give him like a little neck piece, a little something. Anyway, so okay, let's see. So the point being, it's they're in kind of the afterglow. They're waking up.
The question is how they're going to handle Huel.
Well, that one's a lot. Well, you're right. When we do the link up, that might be.
They're pretty much going to have to do like stock footage, I'd imagine.
Well, I mean, they have stock footage, because the idea with Huel is that it's all in the past. Like he probably put on weight over time, making much like Saul Goodman, assumedly. But you're right. If I imagine
once we get Breaking Bad stuff,
I imagine like either that or they could always just maybe just kind of put like a suit under him or something. I don't know. They could always
Right,
pad him up
right.
if they wanted to.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, point being, okay, where are we? All right. So we have. I love how we keep reinventing the wheel and how to showcase them brushing their teeth together in the bathroom because now we have like
yeah. Of course, this calls to mind when they toured the house and like, hey, look, optimal spitting room, and it's like, nope, now they don't have a lot of spitting room again.
I love like the one mirror shot. We see this one mirror and the two of them are just kind of like bobbing in the frame, spitting out in the sink. It's quite nice. Right. So they walk outside.
Kim takes a look at she takes a look at the broken glass outside. Yeah, and Saul, he's like, don't worry about it. That's what we pay rent for. The groundskeepers will take care of it. So, what are their plans for the day, Dragon?
So we get a little expo conversation as they're about to go off on their day here, where Jimmy's got MDC, which basically means he's going to meet with some potential clients. Then he's going to go to court in the afternoon, then go for lunch with Howard. He's finally going to go to lunch with Howard, which we teased up in episode 2 with 50% off. Like Saul Goodman, like we should have lunch sometime, Jimmy. So, and Jimmy's hoping he has no idea what it's going to be like. Hopefully, a short and sweet meeting with Howard to see what he wants. And Kim, wonderfully, really raw here again because she had a really bad day last episode. Because everyone had a bad day last episode.
Pretty much, yeah.
Saul Goodman came out ahead though. So
right,
Kim Wexler, like yesterday was bad. Today I'm gonna fix it. I love her can-do attitude, man. She's her own Charlie Hustle. That's what I'm saying. Today I'm gonna fix it. So we have the kiss goodbye. And again, by the way, it's a very Saul Goodman mentality. I'm gonna fix it. That whole mentality as well. So again, she's becoming more and more kind of a Saul Goodman. And I love how we visualize this. Tell me if I'm reading in too much on this one here. Where Kim, as she's sweeping up the glass, it's basically they kiss each other goodbye, and then after Jimmy leaves, she's talking on the phone, but not just any phone. She's using a Bluetooth.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about it, but yeah, you're right. The show does have many layers of symbolism, and that is definitely one of them, I would think.
And again, a little symbolic of my theory from last episode, my big epiphany with Kim Wexler, that she's her own successful version of Saul Goodman, where right now she's dealing a lot more with Saul Goodman. Again, probably like she wakes up in bed with Saul Goodman, and she's gonna be doing she's pulling a scam with Saul Goodman later in the episode. So again, I think we're kind of getting her there little by little, and these little touches, I think, speak volumes if you really look at them. So basically, what she's doing right now on the phone is she's getting information prepared for her alternative location proposal later in the episode. That's what she's doing right now, and as she's sweeping up the glass. And again, that visual of her sweeping up the glass, it means that she's not all gone yet. She's not all Saul, because she would have just listened to what Jimmy said, just moved on about her day. But she's still responsible, and she again is fixing her mess. So again, like today, I'm going to fix it. She's fixing the mess. She's still responsible, but again, she's still dipping into kind of the shady lawyer tactics, maybe a little bit. But the line's still there, but she's willing to tiptoe over it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
All right, so Jimmy meets with potential clients, which are none other than the 50% off guys.
Ron and Sticky.
Ron and Sticky. Oh dear.
Yes, or as in other words, proto Badger and Skinny Pete.
Pretty much.
Right. So basically, they've finally been caught after their week of 50% off debauchery, which I'm amazed it took them that long to get to. So basically, Saul Goodman, again, I love how each time we check in with Saul Goodman in the fray, when he just kind of turns on the Saul Goodman of it all, he's becoming even more and more like him, with like how easy and how much he's dealing with his clients. Just sounds so much like Breaking Bad, where Saul Goodman's like walking these morons through all the pleas that he's gotten them down from their charges, or essentially so they're going to go kind of economize a little bit here. He got their drug possession charge. He got their drug charges down to possession. They're dealing with possession charge, graffiti, vandalism, public urination.
Well, when nature calls, bro.
You pick up, and or else if you hold it, you get kidney stoned.
Oh God. Not even remotely how that works, Dragon.
Nope,
But
I'm aware. Okay. Public urination, I'm sure a little bit of theft in there, littering, and basically, in essence, what Saul Goodman has done here is he got him down from 5 years to 5 months.
Mhm.
And now he's leading through the fee, like what they owe him. Now again, these guys they went off the chain and like went on this binge of petty crimes, because they thought they were going to get 50% off and have like quite a bargain. Now Saul Goodman tells him $4,000, and he says, "Well, don't do us like that, man. It's like 50% off."
Off.
That is 50% off from 8. So I did a little bit of figuring here. Bear in mind, math not my strong suit, but a rough figuring. Emphasis on rough. Rough figuring is that Jimmy says there's court costs, there's filing, and there's his time. So roughly about $1,300 a piece for those 3 things for Saul Goodman.
Nice.
Like 1,333 if you want to be exact. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Point being in the 1,300 range, which obviously by the time Breaking Bad rolls around, I meant to do additional research to see what he's charging Walt and Jesse, but bear in mind, always ups the prices with those guys, so it's kind of irrelevant. So the point being, he charges a lot anyway. So he's trying. So they try to spook Saul Goodman. These Neanderthals here. They try to spook Saul Goodman with the whole free public defender angle. Like, did you know they have to give us a free lawyer? Says, we're just talking over our options.
That does spook Saul Goodman. It spooks Saul Goodman because it's just like, whoa, like you know what? These guys are idiots, but I can't even in good consciousness sit here and let them like dig themselves a hole like that.
So what he does is he incenses the newfound ego of Saul Goodman. So again, after he yet again gets to the cartel, he's operating the high of highs right now. Because remember, going back to the very beginning of the show, him dealing with Tuca Salamanca really reinvigorated him as like a very fervent public defender. Kind of, I'm really good at this. And he was really kind of enjoying life. And the whole Chuck thing got put into play. So again, this is like Saul Goodman. I got away with it again, and I can charge him anything, man. Yeah, yay me! This Saul Goodman thing's working. So he's letting him have. He's going full force here. He's building up his own Paul Bunyan-esque mythology here, where he's just dropping it on right here. He says, okay, fine, a free lawyer, eh? So okay, you're playing Russian roulette with a pretender, and I love the hypocrisy here, where he was a public defender, and so is Kim. So when he says a pretender, he's kind of insulting Kim Wexler in a sense, and that's
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
It's for the sales pitch, so he probably doesn't fully believe it, but regardless, he's still saying these things, and at some point he's going to believe him through his ego. He's going to fully believe these things, so he's getting there. Mm-hmm. And like 12, you guys can get 12 years in Los Lunas, which again, he's just blowing completely out of proportion Los Lunas. That's a big deal. Like, I don't think
right.
Going from 5 years to 12. So he's blowing a lot of this out of proportion, but still, he's not entirely wrong, though. Again, he'd be lucky. 5 years... They had a lot of crimes, so maybe 5. He might be touched with the 12-year thing. Point being, he's embellishing. So, do you two twerps know who I am? I'm Saul Goodman.
Kind of like a little bit of a say my name moment.
Yeah, a little bit of a say my name. Of course, what's so funny about the whole say my name thing is, again, people in Albuquerque, as we know by the Gene scene of this season, people know his name.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so Saul Goodman, and yesterday I got $8K for an afternoon. Just for an afternoon of my time. And he does the walk-off move. He says, you know what? Okay, good luck. And he walks off. He says, oh, wait, please, sir.
Sir, I love this, sir. I love this, sir.
So he smiles and he turns around because he got him. So anyway, he says, okay, let's talk payment. And just to save me a future headache, no, you cannot pay me in your stolen money. That's evidence. So what collateral do you have? Essentially, grandma. My grandma's got a house. So...
And a car, yo.
Okay, so that's we saw. I just wanted to kind of call it now. I'm thinking about it. I love that we do structure Jimmy's day as like literally everything we see in the episode. It's like just a day in the life of Jimmy McGill is our episode right now. The MDC, the meeting, and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's let's see.
But Jimmy, it's lunch.
But Jimmy, it's lunch. That's great.
Like
my
that?
favorite little detail. He fiddles with the ring, a little nod to Marco,
Sure,
And call back
sure.
to the very beginning of Saul Goodman again, even before he's going on. I know we say that a lot, the beginnings of Saul Goodman, but I know we do. But literally, the whole Marco scam, it's Saul Goodman. The fake name came into play with Marco, ring ultimate symbol of that. Really nice.
Oh yeah.
All right. So he's going to lunch with Howard, and this place we've gone to this place before. This is where Kim got the offer from Schweiker and Coakley. This is where they scammed the guy out of I think $10,000. This is the Hotel Chacho, I believe it is in Albuquerque. Nice place, really nice place. Have a great look. I love like the whole parking exterior where you can see it through the lobby, and that's where we have kind of our button to the scene later. So, did you ever notice in the Albuquerque verse, lunches rarely go well? You ever notice?
Probably picked up on it. Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking of like the whole Gretchen Schwartz and Walter White.
Right.
Like, F you.
Oh God.
Lunches rarely go well.
Sure.
All right, so Howard. Again, Howard, he's in a great place. He's healed up from his grieving after the time jump last season. He's healed up after Jimmy kind of chewed him out and said like, hey, you gotta, Howard, you're a crappy lawyer, but you're a great you're a great salesman. Like F you, Jimmy. That whole Andrew Stan directing that, by the way, awesome. Point being, Howard's all healed up from the time jump, and he's thanking Jimmy for his pep talk in a way with this lunch, and kind of talking over some other business opportunities. So he's chatting with a judge. He's chatting with Judge Lahr, not the wrestler, the other guy, Judge Lahr. It's a perfect name for a judge, by the way, Judge Lahr.
Right.
He introduces Jimmy to Lawler and says, "Oh, it's not Jimmy, it's Saul Goodman." And Judge Lahr, you're a federal judge, right? Yeah. He says, "Your gavel work is legendary." Judge is like, "Okay," and then Howard Hamlin says it. See you at tea time.
Oh yeah. Now, Dragon, would you like to explain our little Howard Hamlin tea gag that we've got going on, please?
In real life as well, I think Patrick Fabian. I know he's done it with Jonathan Banks. They played golf before. Anyway, regardless, Howard Hamlin throughout the whole of the series, he's always been very, very avid. He's been a very avid golfer, as many doctors and lawyers are. And he's always talking about tea time and everything. We just kind of posited the thought way back when, what if Howard Hamlin also is a fan of tea, the beverage, with the tea time. He's into high tea of it all. He's into the whole, very much we take a break during the day, we have a little bit of tea, and we get back to business, and then we go out on the golf course while we're at it. While he's golfing, takes a break, little tea time. Tea time on the golf course in his full kind of golf attire, and he's going a little bit of tea on the green.
Oh, it's silly. It's so silly. But that running joke, it's like, honestly, I feel like we don't use it as much nowadays, but it used to be like, one of the big running jokes of the whole channel at a certain time.
Well, whenever tea comes up, we do mention, whenever tea or golfing comes up, we do think about Howard Hamlin.
You're right.
Yep. Or the Mad Hatter. Okay, so anyway, after a little bit with the judge, we're sitting down for the meal, and Jimmy, again, this one thing, I hope I'm not just sounding like a crazy man. Like, why does he have to gain weight for Saul? Well, I'm just saying he's really chowing down on the bread this scene. He's really eating the bread. I think they're trying to get him trying to fatten him up for the cross, for the link up. I don't know. Anyway, so sits down with them. Basically, he's like, so Saul Goodman, tell me about Saul Goodman. Well, what do you mean? Like, well, if he's, if he's not Jimmy McGill, who is he? So he's asking the big questions here, Jimmy. He's asking the big questions, and as we've seen, Jimmy, half the creation of Saul Goodman, so he doesn't have to ask the big questions about himself, so he can get away from Jimmy McGill. The name's burned. He's going forward with Saul Goodman, so he's already asking Jimmy to reflect on things and reflect deeply, which he does not want to do. But Jimmy, on the fly, he gives the sales pitch. He gives him a sales pitch for Saul Goodman instead of like an honest answer as to why Saul Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, what's he about? Well, he's like the last line of defense for the little guy.
He's a righter of wrongs.
Yes.
He's a friend to the friendless. That's Saul Goodman.
Gets sold down the river. He's the life raft. You got Goliath on your back. He's got the slingshot, which I think might be wrong by the way. Davey, who had the slingshot? Was it Davey or Goliath?
It was Davey had the
Yeah,
slingshot.
that's what I'm saying. You know,
Davey defeated Goliath with the
that's what I'm
slingshot.
saying, right? It has to, because Goliath, you know, is huge. Anyway,
Oh, and by the way, we're thinking of the dog and the pet. It's David and Goliath in the biblical terms. Davey and Goliath is the dog. Anyways, it's all good. I just wanted to make sure we corrected that.
Davey was catchier though. That's the thing.
No, you're right. You're not wrong. It is. It is.
Anyway, let's reboot that now. Let's make it Davey and Goliath. Let's say. Okay. Anyway, so Goliath, you got Goliath on your back. I got Saul Goodman has the slingshot. Right or wrong's friend of the friendless, and just Howard's going, wow. So again, answer in the form of a sales pitch, but again, I do feel it's honest that Saul Goodman is desperation incarnate. That's who Saul Goodman is, and Saul Goodman is the boisterous version of all of Jimmy McGill's passion. So again, in part, that is essentially what Saul Goodman is, and I love that it's kind of on the fly he comes up with that response, which is very much kind of the truth of who Saul Goodman is. Quite nice.
Tom Holland is Davey.
Okay, let's not get sidetracked.
Just throwing it out there.
Okay, so I love this. So this is my favorite scene in the episode right now. Oh God, I love this scene so much. Howard says he gets it. I believe he does, man. Patrick Fabian is so good, and this is an Emmy scene for Patrick Fabian, man. I think it's going to get better for him as the season goes on. This is a great scene, right?
Oh yeah.
So basically, he kind of voices everything we've been saying. This is a money scene right here, where Howard says that he gets it. He understands why he changed the name. HHM did Jimmy wrong. It took his legacy away. It took the name and the legacy away from him and tainted it. The whole McGill name's been tainted now because HHM. And we should have hired you. And I love this. I love that Jimmy. He's feeling really vulnerable right now because this is everything he's ever wanted to hear, but he just feels like it's like, why are you telling me this now? He's like ancient history. He's moving forward, and basically the mantra of Jimmy and his response to all this is, I'm moving forward, hence the Saul Goodman, and all this is nice, but it's way too late. Okay, it's too late to say this now. Where Howard says, I should have showed backbone like in the beginning when I had the opportunity to hire you after American Samoa. In the very beginning, or the whole sandpiper business. Basically, going back all the way back to season 1, I had 2 opportunities to hire you, and I didn't. Mm-hmm. And let me be clear, I'm not interested in yesterday. I'm sorry. Do you want to take us through some of this?
Yeah. He says, basically he really wants to hire Jimmy for his own means, because he does think that Jimmy is what HHM needs. They're just a Charlie Hustle, if you will. And Jimmy, of course, obviously very reluctant. Like, you want to hire me after all the shit that we went through, Howard? And Howard, man, poor Howard, he just does not get it. He just does not see Jimmy's perspective. He's like, as far as I'm concerned, that's all, that's all between you and Chuck. And he's not wrong. But like I said, he doesn't understand the perspective that Jimmy has, and he doesn't understand why this is a slap in the face to Jimmy. And Dragon, this is exactly the kind of conflict that I wanted to see Howard come up with this season is, Howard genuinely being in the right and trying to be a nice guy and trying to make amends, but it's still offending Jimmy. That's exactly that's why I love these two.
I know, and I love this. Jimmy's looking for every excuse to kind of turn him down right here, where he's saying, again, the whole what about all the stuff we went through with Chuck? That was between you two. And I was just kind of caught in the middle, which he's right. And then he says he refers him to Cliff Maine, of course. Basically, when Cliff and Jimmy kind of forced himself to get fired from the job, or he's trying to call him Ed Bigley Jr. to save him in this situation, but he ain't picking up. Basically, he's looking for excuses not to take it here, which again are kind of falling on deaf ears. And Howard's saying, I've been considering this seriously since, and this, I love this bit so much. It's a subtle bit. This is like how great Bob Odenkirk is, right? It's like, I've been considering it since the scholarship committee meeting. Remember the girl?
Yeah.
And then Jimmy, I love this. I know he's on a path of being Saul Goodman, but I love even as Saul Goodman, even committing to that path, Saul Goodman remembers the girl's name because it was the most heartbreaking thing he ever had to do. Crush the dreams of Christy Esposito. So he knows the name, like Christy Esposito. Yeah, yes, Christy. Yeah. So I love Saul Goodman hasn't forgotten her, and basically that's judgment, honesty. when I think of you, it's judgment, it's honesty, it's your how you chewed me out last year, and again, I think he really is grateful when Jimmy chewed him out and really kind of got his head on straight after the whole HHM was in the red, and kind of Howard dug it out of the red because of what Jimmy said to him. You say what you mean. This is where Fabian's really getting it, man. This is where Fabian's like, you say what you mean. This is where he's kind of dropping. He's getting personal with him as the conversation goes on. You're smart. You're scrappy. You're a go-getter. You don't wait for things. You make them happen. HHM is growing again, and it could use you. I could use you. And I love he takes a pause. He takes a little pause, and he gets a little choked up. He really paid attention to it. He says, Charlie Hustle. It's like of all the times he said Charlie Hustle, there's always been an affectionate thing between the two men. He's always called him like Charlie Hustle. It's always been like a little nickname for him. He's like, this is the most emotional we've ever had him deliver, Charlie Hustle. And this is like everything this is everything Jimmy McGill ever wanted in life. Everything he ever wanted from the beginning.
Oh
yeah. And Howard's like, he's being so great in the scene. He says, don't answer now. Don't answer. Live with it a little bit, okay? Just live with it. Let's enjoy lunch. Pleasantries, even better. So Saul Goodman, he downs his drink, and then we very much a parallel to the Schweiker and Coakley, and Schweiker having the lunch with Kim Wexler, making his offer. Basically, a similar scene, like being glowing about the other lawyer, like come work for us. Then we're on the outside. We have this beautiful exterior silhouette. Jimmy, thanks Howard for lunch. Thanks for lunch. I'll get the next one. They shake hands, and then the hug. We get the hug. I love how uncomfortable Saul is with the hug. We see the two cars, we see the Esteem, and we see the Jag and this is up. I love the reveal so much of the Jaguar. We see Howard Hamlin's car, and on the license plate it says Namaste, with E being a 3.
Yeah, Namaste.
By the way, in real life, I don't know if Fabian was joking about this. I'm pretty sure in real life Patrick Fabian drives a Jaguar.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, I'm not a car guy, but if I was a car guy, a Jaguar would be my car of choice, man. I've got an affection for that vehicle.
I love the Jag. Now, here's my favorite thing about all of this and this whole scene, this whole conceit of the episode. This is why I love this episode so much. All right, so I love that we have story-wise, we've pulled a moment, one of the best moments from Breaking Bad, one of the best story moments from Breaking Bad. We've presented Saul Goodman with his own version of a gray matter solution. But it's 3 seasons too late. We've presented with the gray matter solutions, and he has everything he's ever wanted. Ordinarily, Saul Goodman would absolutely, Jimmy McGill would absolutely take this offer if it were 3 seasons earlier. But it's not. So he's given like the solution to we've given Saul Goodman out. You don't need to become Saul Goodman. We've solved all your problems right now. No Saul Goodman. We can avert. You can get married to Kim Wexler, move into a big nice house. It can all go great. But is he going to take it? Exactly. And if he takes this, we have no show. We have no Breaking Bad, so obviously cannot. For all we know, we can't take it unless he's going to be pulling kind of a really elaborate scheme, which only episodes in the future will be able to tell us that. Okay.
Okie dokie then. So let's see. So what's next here, Dragon? What's next?
Kevin Walkdell.
Oh God! Of course. Of course.
We love excellent.
We do, man. Kevin Walkdell is just a delightful presence whenever he pops up. Yeah. He's just so full of himself.
He's either walking tall or walk-telling you something, man. So Kevin and Paige, they're having a little meeting in Mesa Verde with Kim, going over all the stuff, making sure we'll check in, we'll debrief on how everything's going, proceeding, and if they're legally covered and everything. And we're talking specifically the construction plans for the call center. Mm-hmm. In Tucumcari, and Kim Wexler, before they move on, Kim interjects with a pitch for an alternate location around Tucumcari. So right now they're pursuing lot 1102. Oh, it means there's going to be a big plot point. Whenever in Better Call Saul we have like 2 locations with like 4 numbers, there's a big deal. Something big's happening. The whole 12, 16, 12. Yeah, that whole affair.
Sure.
Talking about lot 1102, and Kim wants to reopen, consideration for lot 2375. So basically, that was a vacant lot that had a flooding problem that, since from what I understand, has been attended to and taken care of. And she's done her research and said this might be a really good opportunity for us. And essentially, in the long run, this would be efficient for us, but it would essentially put us 2 to 3 weeks outside of where we're heading already. So that's the thing. It would be like a 2 to 3 week delay, but in the long run might benefit them. So she's made again. Kim Wexler does her homework, man. She's at the front of the class. Jim McGill in the back of the class, but he's clever. Kim Wexler, she's at the front of the class, putting an apple on the teacher's desk. So, basically, she says the land that you currently own, 1102, you don't have to do anything with it. Over time, it'll be an investment that will grow, and when you want to do something with it, you can. And Kevin is not concerned with reputation, as Kim Wexler puts it. The
reputation thing was maybe like a bad word for her to use. It's like her heart's in the right place. She really, and it is a good argument, but just legally speaking, it kind of shows that she's lacking the killer instinct, and that killer instinct thing, Dragon. It's an interesting contrast here with Kim's character throughout these last couple episodes that we've been seeing, where she has the killer instinct, certainly, but maybe she's got the killer instinct for the wrong things in the wrong field, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like her... It's just a big kind of conflict going on with her morally and emotionally, and of course we'll see what happens when she kind of steps into the Saul Goodman pool of it all. So, yeah, interesting to track there.
So... Kevin, I love this. Yet again, kind of like the Rick Schweiker thing from last episode. And the reason this is what separates Better Call Saul from the pack is that we don't have mustache twirly characters unless we're talking about the cartel in which the characters actually have mustaches. Right? Where in this case, it's, like in the case of Lalo, I'm mainly referring to on that one, but Kevin Wachtel plainly asked, 1102, that is our land, correct? And we are legally in the right. And she says, well, yes. And Kevin Wachtel, again, being the omnipresent cowboy and model aficionado that he is, I'm not going to let anyone chase me off my own land. And again, he is right. He owns the land. And as we saw through Kim and everything, the Mesa Verde is in the right. They own the land, but again, kicking an old man out of his house, it's like what if we're not going to have any balloons and anything floating that house out there. It's not going to be a happy ending for this guy. We're not going to have oh look, the house we landed the house in Paradise Falls. It ain't going to go that way for Mr. Acker. Or if we pursue this path here. So he is in the right. But again, Kevin Wachtel is not like saying Kim's in trouble, right? He's saying, thanks for the thought, though. I do appreciate the thought. So again, he's such great characters who are kind of in these antagonistic roles. I love it. It's in the right, but again, it is a choice made from power and greed, though. That rubs Kim the wrong way, speaking to what you were talking about earlier. Okay. So big important piece of information is given to us here. Acker's out Friday at noon, as in the construction guys are going to be, the sheriff and the construction guys are all going to be there Friday at noon. That's going to be, he's going to need some balloons in that house or else he's in trouble. Friday at noon.
Oh, God. Could you imagine if that was the actual solution? It just turns into live action up.
I would be I don't know if it'd be a smart call, but it'd be a gutsy call. So it could be their little jumping the shark moment.
Oh, God.
Anyway. So Kim is armed with this information that she's going to be working with later. Okay. So now we are, Mike, okay, here's Gordon Smith going back to his 5-0 roots for this scene. And, of course, with the 5-0 roots, it's time to say that we...
love Mike!
We love Mike. Someone put that on a t-shirt, but don't get us sued. Oh, my goodness. We heart Mike. We heart... Not only do we love the actor Jonathan Banks, but we adore the character of Mike Ehrmantraut. We love everything he's gone through. We love it so much we like to emblazon it on I Love Lucy iconography, one could argue. We love, we started this whole shindig in February. Valentine's Day was on our mind, and you know what? Mike, we love him so much. He's being put through the ringer. Our heart goes out to him. We like to reciprocate that by visualizing it in a sense, showing that our hearts are with Mike Ehrmantraut. Mike Ehrmantraut is in our hearts. In this case, like an advent calendar, he's in our hearts. Each episode, like to add a little bit of Mike Ehrmantraut love. This episode, my heart so goes out to him in this episode for what happens.
Oh my God, dude! This episode is just like it keeps getting worse and worse for him, man. It really does. And frankly, by the end of the episode, he's lucky he's still alive.
He is, and we bring Mike to his low point this episode.
Oh, yeah.
You're thinking like, oh my God, Mike, how did we get him to a low point? Even worse than what's been happening to him already, where he yelled at his poor granddaughter. Oh, folks, it gets a lot worse for Mike. Believe me. So. Mike, he's trying. I love this. I love Mike's trying to make after a night of just kind of like stewing in his juices and kind of drinking and like get into a little altercation with the street gang that he won. Um, he's going back. A little time's passed. He wants to make it right with Kaylee. As he shows up, Stacy's like, "Pop, what are you doing here?" He didn't get the message. Apparently, she left him. She tried calling him. He didn't answer. He didn't get the messages saying that someone else is watching Kaylee, a babysitter by the name of Emily. Emily, the babysitter. But it's for the best. And I love this. My favorite bit is that Mike offers to pay the sitter for a time. So I'll pay her for a time, and I'll just take over. So, oh my God, he's such a good man. That's Mike Trap. And he's trying to make it right. He says, I scared her, and I want to talk to her. So, oh, listen, Pop, she's over it now. She's forgotten all about that. She's fine. I like to think she's telling the truth, but do you think she's just trying to make him feel better with that? What do you think?
Oh, I definitely think she doesn't want him to have anything to do with Kaylee for the time being. I think everything that she's saying in this scene is just kind of trying to get him to leave, honestly.
Gotcha. Okay, it's interesting.
I don't know. That's my read on it. I think that was a pretty clear read on my part. Why? Did you think something differently?
Well, I mean, again, a little time has passed, and maybe here's the thing. So Stacy, I think.
I mean, like she says in this scene, it's like she knows something's up with him. She puts it pretty bluntly, as far as I can tell.
That's what I'm saying to you. If you take the scene at face value, I'm still on the side where Stacy is saying that she knows something's off, and that's why she's making sure she's not sending Emily home. But I mean, do you think the whole thing with Kaylee has forgotten about the whole thing? And again, Stacey does call him out saying,
"No, I don't think I don't think Kaylee's forgotten about it, or else I don't think it would be an issue." That's my whole thing. That's where I come down on it.
I like where your head's at. I could buy it. So I'm malleable on this. Is what I'm getting at here. So that's what I'm trying to get kind of a beat line here. I can only go by what I thought about the episode. Where okay, well maybe Kaylee has forgotten about it, But then again, it was a pretty scary. Jonathan Banks getting angry at you. That's that thing you don't forget. It really is. So, she's saying that what she raises the very serious concern, like, what if Kaylee brings up Maddie again? And again, I love how vulnerable. This is where Gordon Smith his writing gets into play here. And Jonathan Banks loves Gordon Smith's writing. By the way, he does. He loves what Gordon Smith. One of Jonathan Banks' favorite acting things he's ever done was the episode 5-0. So he's got a lot of love for Gordon Smith. So he's really bringing the emotion in this scene where she's saying, you got to get past this. What do you mean, get back to myself?
Oh yeah.
Because she's offering well, why don't you come over for dinner next week? We'll have pork chops you like. It's like, oh God, poor Mike. He's being ousted by his own family. That's the last thing he has in this world, and that's the last straw for Mike. It's truly he's lost everything, and now he's going to the low point where now he's going to be looking for punishment next time we check in with him. It's he lost his family. It's the only tether he's got. Now he doesn't care what happens to him.
All right, so Kim, man, she walks into the courthouse of Saul Goodman, or the court of Saul Goodman, as Saul Goodman is holding court, very much like a clown court, if you will. Dragon, this is some great stuff.
So this is a very interesting thing. So remember, the series Bible for Better Call Saul is that Saul Goodman will do everything. He'll settle a case on the courthouse steps before he goes into court.
Right.
Before he does a trial. And in the course of the series, we've only seen possibly two. I think it's the only time we've ever seen Saul Goodman with a jury. I'm convinced. But the only time we've seen him kind of in court. Now, that's not to say he's never been in a courtroom, because obviously we've seen him in a courtroom, but usually kind of settling matters, doing kind of some civil matters. Stuff like. When he's dealing with the whole Sandpiper Crossing, or when he has that montage in episode 2 way back when he's doing the after dealing with the cartels, I'm going to be the best public defender ever. That whole montage. But the first episode, he's kind of bombing out in the trial with the judge. So the idea is that Jimmy McGill has as courtroom PTSD when he does a legit criminal trial. And it's very interesting that this trial doesn't necessarily go forward because of what Saul Goodman pulls here. So it's going to be really interesting if we see Saul Goodman in a trial again, or if this is yet again fueling fire to the series, to the series kind of mission statement that Saul Goodman will do everything he can not to do a trial.
Mm-hmm.
So we see Saul Goodman in action, the second legit trial in Better Call Saul, where we have Mr. Harkness. Mr. Harkness is testifying. to a robber, basically testifying that he can identify the robber in the courtroom who stole from him in the convenience store or whatever store he worked at, Mr. Seiki. Saul Goodman clarifies that he saw that man without a doubt, without any doubt in his mind. It's like you saw that man there, because the idea is there was like a Kiss concert or something, or basically everybody who been walking in through the night had makeup on, but not this guy, if I'm reading that correctly. I think that's what was
Yeah. It was a Kiss concert, so of course you've seen the Family Guy Kiss episode. You know the drill there.
Yeah. So Saul Goodman then reveals, this is a really great pull. This is a huge Gordon Smith pull. There's a story behind this. Saul Goodman reveals that is not even his client. The man that he pointed to is not his client. So this actually, Tiki, this is a real life case. So here's the funny story. This is not only a real life case. This is a real life tactic. It's an infamous tactic, and it's been adapted actually before. I don't know if they pulled from the adaptation. I think Gordon Smith just pulled from the real life case. I don't know if he knew this has been adapted a time or two before. So. Yeah, and I believe I think it was in California. I think it was in LA. I think, where basically someone took advantage of the fact the judge has so many cases, they're not going to be able to be 100% like who's coming in unless they've seen him before. Even if they have, they've probably forgotten about him. And basically get a client, someone who's your quote unquote client, who looks so much like the actual the actual defendant that if you only have a case where someone can only identify the person. So there's no security cam footage. There's no way of identifying beyond this one witness. You could trip them up, and seemingly you can get out of Dodge. You can get out of jail. You're gonna be free to go. You'd be the big victorious lawyer. I saw this adapted on the practice. That's how I recognized this tactic in the first place. Then I found that oh god, it was them pulling from a real case, and yet again it being done here. So this is I think it's funnier if Jimmy McGill watched the practice and he got the idea from that, though. That's what I like to think it is. But it's seriously, it's an infamous tactic, and judges hate this tactic because again it throws the jury in the thing, because it's a dirty pull trick, as you can probably tell.
It is sure.
Because again, you can always, I'm sure a judge could make the argument that, well, you can do that with any case, and that would throw justice into a blender right now. Like, oh god, we're never going to be able to. If you have people who look so much like it, and they're like, oh, it's unfair. It's an unfair tactic. The judge isn't happy. The whole courtroom's like a Twitter like, oh, that guy's in the back. He's the client. No, Mr. Goodman.
And I love that. Is that, it's like Saul has worked up enough of a reputation to where the judges are using his last name.
It's like he's like he was called for like a spelling test in front of the classroom, and he spelled a curse word.
Oh God!
Oh, Mr. Goodman.
And I love how Kim is watching, and she's kind of like, we don't really know what's in her head now, but as we're about to find out, it's like this is pretty much Jimmy's job interview for what Kim has in mind.
Oh yeah, I love they locked eyes during the case, and Jimmy felt so proud. Like, I'm going to show off in front of my girlfriend. All right. Not that he did it. He was going to do this regardless. But it's like, hey, I got this. See you, Kim. Nice day for me. So anyway, so she calls the lawyers, the chambers immediately, and adjourns the rest of them. She's going to have very specific. Now she has to straighten out the whole mess of, okay, ignore who we identify. We're going to have to do the case all over again, because as Kim waits up for Jimmy comes out and says, I heard the two sweetest words in the English language: mistrial. And again, that's the way Saul Goodman settles. That's yet again, it's Saul Goodman not necessarily in a courtroom, but again, mistrial. That's what he can do. So Kim has. Tell me if you caught this, Tiki. Kim Wexler's moment of hesitation before she asked Jimmy the question.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Sure. I caught it.
Because again, she is watching for an audition here, and she sees what he's capable of, and it's like you get a sense of like, I need him for this, but what I just saw, I mean, I'm crossing a line, which as the last episode kind of implied, I'm willing to do, but again, she's still kind of hanging by the rope. She's not fully jumping off the cliff yet, so she's still trying to be ethical. She's trying to do the right thing here. She's trying to save Mr. Acker, but it has some hesitation, but she asked Jimmy about the Tucumcari case and if she can help him out. If Saul Goodman can help her out with this Tucumcari case.
So now we know the origins of Wexler versus McGill.
Yes, we do. I'm very excited to speculate about it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, Tiki, it's closing time at Pollos Hermanos.
Closing time. All right.
Right. So, let's see. So, Gus Fring, he's waiting by the phone. The
This is
disposable
an employee nightmare, Dragon. This scene gives me so much anxiety, and I love it.
brought back one of our favorite side characters.
Yes. You know what's funny about this, Dragon, is that I feel like this scene, they do a masterful job of making what's going on with Lyle arguably even more suspenseful than what's going on with the dead drops.
I know, right? Again, Tiki, this is the magic trick of Better Call Saul. To explain to people. The stakes are less severe than Breaking Bad. No question.
Right.
Okay, we don't have a crawl space situation at all going on here. We don't. Only time we've had something like that was like the whole Miho situation. Take that out of the equation, it's all pretty docile. But still, everything that's going on, it's so mundane, but the tension is racked up times 100, and I love it. So mundane,
man,
more mundane than, well, it gets more mundane with ants on an ice cream cone, but still.
So Lyle, poor Lyle, man, he is the, he is Gus Fring's golden child, but in that, Gus Fring has a lot of expectation for him. But of course, Gus Fring has a lot of other things on his mind this evening, Dragon. Maybe things that he might perhaps take out on poor Lyle here.
So what I love too is Lyle is he's like Victor or Tyrus, but for the legitimate side of the business.
Right,
he's trusted. Totally. But again, much like Victor, he's willing to kind of put him through the ringer when the time comes. Looks like. So the point is, Lyle's closing up, and he's covering the fryer for Deshaun. He was doing a solid for his buddy Deshaun, his little subordinate Deshaun. Okay, Deshaun on the fryer, you go home. Big mistake, Lyle. You should have had Deshaun do it. Oh. So we have who traditionally is like the best boss ever, Mr. Fring. Mr. Fring and Lyle's dynamic has always been wonderful. He's always been he's always been trying to shield Lyle from when the cartel comes and knocking at Pollos Hermanos. And he's asking Lyle, is this fryer acceptable to you?
Oh man.
Looks clean, and then Lyle he's playing along. But looking at it a second time, I think it could be a little cleaner, yeah. He offers I'd like to do this over for you, Mr. Frank.
Just the level of passive aggressiveness that Gus exhibits with Lyle here is just ridiculous.
But we've set up the intercut sequence right now. So Lyle is going to be cleaning the fryer. Meanwhile, Hank
this is my favorite montage of the season so far, I think.
It's a good one. So Hank and Gomi, they're staking out the sting operation. Basically, all the money drops. Which basically, again, Fring. The whole reason Fring's waiting by the phone is that he's waiting to take the $1 million bath, as it were. That he doesn't want to take, but he's going to have to get his deal with the whole Lalo situation. He's going to have to take the $1 million bath. He's going to have to let the DEA get his money here and just kind of get one over him. In the culvert. Culvert essentially is sort of like a drainage pipe of some, kind of like a rain spill off area. Anyway. So we have some Hank and Gomi banter. So far there've been I think there's been 3 dead drops so far, and this is like the 4th one. I think it's either the 3rd. The point being they're on the last. This is the last of the dead drops. That's the important takeaway. They've arrested some guys. The point being we've already arrested some people, and let's see. Gomi is tasked with getting a photo of the guy. You got to get some photos of the drop happening, and that's kind of what we're staking out the place for. Everything else is panned out. We're on the last one here, and they're hoping to make kind of like a final arrest and kind of get some answers and etc. Basically, kind of go home with a full victory, a full slay. Like, okay, job well done, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So let's see. We have some Gomi Hank dialogue here where you keep them nice and relaxed. We gotta keep them nice and relaxed, like Gomi's mom on date night, or Hank's left hand every night. Again, this is the cocky Hank dialogue from early Breaking Bad. But again, they've won me over on it more than I was with the original Breaking Bad, so points there. So Gus then mind games Lyle a little bit here. We're basically Lyle. Gus comes back and Gus is looking at it and he's rolling up his sleeves in disappointment. Oh god, the passive aggressiveness is so.
Oh yeah.
It's like the Hulk of passive aggressiveness here.
He really is. He really is.
So he tells him to go. Oh, you can go home, Lyle. As he rolls up his sleeve, and again, Lyle just wants to please Mr. Frink because he does respect and like the man. He says, "Oh no, let me try again, please. I'd very much like to try again." Again, this is just Gus. This shows you that Gus Fring is a little off his game. You know, where he's a little off his game, where he has to take a bath and it's rarely is Gus Fring put in a powerless position. Rarely. But he has to eat the crow. He has to kind of take the $1 million bath, and he's got to be really. He's taking down Lyle, just being super petty like this, maybe. But also, tell me if this is crazy. Do you think he just doesn't want to be alone? You think that's why he's keeping Lyle there?
Oh man, I like that. I never really thought about that. I was always just thinking about the aggression side of things.
I think there is aggression. That's the twist of the thing. I think there's aggression, but also he doesn't want to be alone during this.
So basically, he needs to take out his aggression.
Yeah, he needs to take out his aggression, but he needs to take out his aggression, so he needs someone there, but he also, maybe part of him doesn't want to be alone.
I like it.
Alright, so we intercut the drop with Lyle scrubbing until his hands are red and practically bleeding, but
God.
So so basically what's happening in the DEA of it all right now is that one of Fring's top guys, one of Fring's Fring essentially has 5 men at the top of the pyramid of Fring's operation.
Top men.
Precisely. Yeah, we have Mike. Let's see. There's Mike, Victor, Tyrus. This guy, Diego. We have Diego, who is basically the guy who's running around doing all this, making the drop. And you have Nick. Nick's the guy who gets killed during the big sniper scene in season 4 Breaking Bad. So we saw him already in Better Call Saul. He's the guy who works with Mike on security. So Nick. So those are Fring's 5 top guys. This is Diego. We rarely ever see Diego, by the way. So the point is Diego's here. And he's working on basically his job is to essentially look like he's making the drop and get away. So he has to lead the DEA to the money, but he also has to get away because if he's caught, then he's dead to Fring, which is not good.
Sure.
So that's where the tension in the sequence comes from. But again, more tension on the Friar thing. Point being, Hank and Gomi, they see him, they give chase. We intercut between that and the Friar. Then the chase goes on foot into the sewer, into kind of the culvert of it all. Let's go
spelunking.
Go spelunking. Victor picks up Diego right at the nick of time, picks him up, they drive out of there, then Gomi is having his little victory count of $700,000, which I always assumed it was going to be there's $500,000 for the whole total, but if he's getting $700,000 here and there are 2 other drops, Fring definitely took $1 million bath, no question. Not even $500,000.
Oh yeah.
So at one point, it was probably worse than what Fring expected. I think it's really what's getting them angry and getting all on Lyle's case even more so.
Jesus. Yeah. This is coming out of your paycheck, Lyle.
$700,000, Lyle. So, importantly, again, this is where we're getting to that little Breaking Bad Season 2 thing I really love about Hank right now, where Hank feels like they got the booby prize, that, the guy got away, and Hank's feeling like, doesn't this feel a little too easy? So, again, we're teasing up, while he's still cocky Hank from Season 1, he's got those smart instincts in there, man. Those smart instincts are in there. So then Hank does your favorite thing.
Excuse me? Buys a round of drinks?
Yeah, you're getting a little
Is that my favorite thing? Is that what you're referring to? I'm not an alcoholic, Dragon. Jesus Christ.
No, he's doing the Texas Ranger thing you like. He's doing the...
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were implying something else.
No, but you have gone on your drinking sprees, but I'm not judging.
You're not wrong, but still, not like I do it every day or every week. Yes, I did drink around the world solo and live to tell the tale. You're right.
Anyway, so Mr. Schrader Brow, why don't you take us to the little... Hank gives a little pep talk.
He's basically saying, we made a lot of money, a big pile of cash, and we're going to go down to the bar, and first round's on me. Yeah!
Go no O'Neill's.
Going to O'Neill. Yeah.
Gus gets the call.
That definitely gets into the good graces of the DEA, but like you said, he's still got kind of a chip on his shoulder in spite of everything.
And again, we mentioned that they have Domingo in the bag, which again obviously pays off in Breaking Bad when Domingo goes missing, and the DEA now has their new fish in Heisenberg.
Sure.
Right. So Fring gets the call that gets the call from Victor. Everything went according to plan. Snaps the phone. He tells Lyle, "Thank you, Lyle. You can go home." And I love this. Lyle's like, he's so red in the face and everything. So I'm sweating during the sequence. The whole thing. He's put his all over. Essentially cleaning a clean fryer too. And like, but is it okay? Is it clean? It is acceptable. He says what he said before.
Oh my god, dude. That's just like evil. It's just evil.
I love this. The man's literally killed a man with a box cutter, but this is evil. That's what I'm saying. So Gus is not happy with the setback, and the acceptable loss is an acceptable loss. That's essentially what he's voicing with the whole is acceptable. It's an acceptable loss, and I love this. I love as Lyle leaves, the little adjustment speaks volumes. Like he just adjusts the little fryer like a little bit.
Oh yeah.
One could argue it's like once he does that, then it's perfect. But until that point, it's like oh god. All right. So Saul Goodman.
Yeah, so he enters Mr. Acker's property.
I love this. I love how he enters.
Go ahead.
He walks around, use like a plank of wood to get in there. Saul Goodman's so suave at this, and just having broken into a number of things. Just use like a little pen to pick the lock with ease as he just strolls on in there. Sal's up to the door, knocks on the door, and positions his foot like the consummate salesman. He positions his foot, waiting for the slam.
Oh yeah.
Knowing it's going to happen, and he tries to wine and dine Mr. Acker and basically they give him his proposition. So he's saying, putting the foot in the door, he says, "I've had enough of you Mesa Verde lawyers. No, I don't work for Mesa Verde. I want to work for you." And what happens, Tiki?
She gives him a photo of, oh god, a man fucking a horse, Dragon.
Barry Corbin, the way he delivers that line. Is this? Like, oh god, it's...
A man fucking a horse?
Just love the reaction shot. That's a correction. That's such a Peter Gould pitch. I know Gordon Smith wrote this. This feels like a Peter Gould pitch, man. All right, so, and of course, I love it's like we're in the early mid 2000s internet, where again, unfortunately, folks, especially during that time, this is like the remarkable thing where it's like you could find everything on the internet, but unfortunately, I think the weirder stuff you found during the infancy of the internet, like this, you know.
So essentially, Saul makes the pitch where I hate Mesa Verde just as much as you do, and like we have to just kind of smile and say thank you while they screw us over. No, basically, think of me as the man, and Mesa Verde is the horse.
I'll do anything to stick it to Mesa Verde.
Oh God. And Dragon, does that work? Is that successful?
Yeah, smash cut to a victory call to Kim Wexler, where it's like, good news, I got him. And it's like, how? Visual aids. And I love the sign gag, which by the way is where I got the phone number from last episode. It's on the sign. I called the number on the sign.
Oh, nice.
It was Mesa Verde. So, basically over Jimmy's shoulder after he says visual aid, and he's about to get in the car again, like literally the horse that is the symbol for Mesa Verde's,
Right.
So obviously we don't see the photo. God knows, thank God we don't see the photo. But that's what I'm saying. I like that we kind of paint the picture. The cowboy on the horse. That's all we need, really. It paints a picture of what he did. So, point being, all is going great for Jimmy right now. All is going great. Saul Goodman, victorious 24 hours for Saul Goodman. But there's a moment of contemplation that strikes him. A moment of contemplation. Oh, yeah. You know what? Everything's going great now. I could go home happy, get some Chinese with the old girlfriend. But then we have a cold opening that we need to work in there. So we don't see it because we saw it already. So point being, you can fill in the blank if you want to put it in order. You put the cold open as the next scene, and after that scene, we have this scene, the big payoff. Yes. Oh my God, I love the payoff of this so much. So it was like one of those magic moments of like, what is he doing? Why? Jimmy, don't do this. It's like you're so invested. So Jimmy, he dons some bowling gloves and a hat, and he has the bag of bowling balls. He's outside a gate of a very nice home, and I already had a suspicion of where he was. Like, oh no, don't tell me he's there. No, don't tell me he's got to be right there. Oh no!
Don't burn the bridge, Jimmy. Don't burn the bridge.
So as I fear, this is worse than what he does the Peter Disseth, or he does the Bill Oakley.
Oh God.
So as I feared, he's tossing bowling balls at Howard Hamlin's Jaguar.
Mm-hmm. His beloved Jaguar Dragon.
And this is a very tricky shot, by the way, because the way they shot this is crazy, Tiki. You're not going to believe this, because they didn't want to do actual damage to, they didn't want to do basically literally throw bowling balls at the car. So what plus, by the way, they don't want to hurt him or hurt anyone around the car. So what they did is they drop a bowling ball, but they catch it midair. They catch it in midair, which is not an appetizing job, by the way. Catch bowling balls in midair.
No. God.
And there's an air cannon in the car, because if you freeze frame, you don't see a bowling ball enter the car window.
Oh wow.
Basically, there's an air cannon inside, so it's the illusion of the bowling ball, because you see the bowling ball going up, and someone catches it off screen, and then bang, window crashes out.
Right. Clever.
So, they blow the window out, and like there's a giant dent in the front of the car, the alarm's going off, and then we just see, Jimmy's going off, and we see Howard Hamlin's kind of walk off to his balcony. He's got a really nice. I love that Howard Hamlin's a nice house. I want to know more about Howard Hamlin. I want to see his father. I want to see his wife. I want to know all about the ham, man. So Howard Hamlin, we just see this disheartened reaction of Howard Hamlin. It breaks my heart. It's like, if he doesn't know, he can pretty much put it together who did this.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. He doesn't really care about the car. He cares that it's Jimmy.
Essentially, the symbol of like the broken windshield, and you see the whole Namaste license plate yet again. The big message there being Saul Goodman is rejecting the Namaste approach of Howard Hamlin, because the idea too is that therapy wasn't doing it for him, but he went to, I guess, kind of like vague Buddhism and yoga and stuff to to kind of get him through the hard time. That's why he has the Namaste license plates. That's why he was like, he's trying to right wrongs in his life, hence the Namaste of it all. So so Sullivan's rejecting the olive branch. That is a Namaste, like a happy-go-lucky greeting, like, hey, peace to you, peace to me, yeah, Namaste. So he's rejecting the olive branch. Howard and Jimmy, they're on these diverging paths. And remember, the other reason that Jimmy, I think, rejects Howard's offer here is that the personal reason for it is that he's jealous that Howard healed and Jimmy didn't. Jimmy's way of healing was becoming Saul Goodman. Howard's way of healing, and Howard is perfectly fine right now. He's all good. He's living the high life, and Saul Goodman is jealous that Howard Hamlin grieved his brother's death better than he did.
Mm-hmm.
That's a powerful motivator deep down, So it's so great. You look at this compared to season 1. It's not a personal rivalry like it was in the beginning. Of course, personal because Chuck kind of manipulated the situation, but a personal rivalry. Jimmy McGill hated Howard Hamlin until he found out Howard wasn't the bad guy. But now Saul Goodman hates Howard Hamlin, not because he hates him personally, but because of the status. He hates the status. It's the ego. It's like ego versus the pride of what the gray matter situation was in Breaking Bad. It's like purely Saul Goodman's ego instead of Walter White's pride.
Yeah, and this is pretty much what I was predicting when it comes to, how he burns bridges with Jimmy, or how Jimmy burns bridges with him, I should say, is kind of like, Jimmy is so into this role of kind of like the anti-Howard Hamlin, the anti-establishment, that it's not even personal. It's literally just like a game to Jimmy, and he doesn't even really see the, the emotional repercussions of what he's doing here.
Yeah.
All right.
So, my heart's already going out to Howard Ham, but how can things get possibly even worse for one of our characters?
Oh dear God. Yeah. So, Mike, let's make this quick, Dragon, because I want to wrap this up. I know we've still got spec to go.
So Mike.
He's walked. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go on.
No. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Mike's walking home. Again at night, he's looking for an outlet for all of his He's looking for an outlet for his aggression, but also for the anger he's feeling at himself, but also the punishment he's kind of looking to dole out against himself here. And this time the gang goes for the attack, man. They're like not even waiting. They're like, okay, it's Grandpa again. We got to go get this guy. He hurt one of our guys. So they see him. Great choreography. Like, Jonathan Banks doing this is like perfect Jonathan Banks. He just punches the guy in the throat. First move. That's Jonathan Banks punches somebody in the heart. Essentially, that's what he does. punches him in the throat, then headbutts him. And this is great. As Mike is outnumbered, he's being really they're trouncing poor Mike. But I love that Mike. He's fighting all the way down. Like, he's kicking him while he's down. He's like kicking their shins out, and he punches that guy, below the belt, which is, oh god, like that's great. The first one's free, and like bam, and then as they're, I think part of me wonders if Mike would have won this fight had the knife not come into play. I wonder.
Right.
So I love the abruptness of this cut. It's basically knife gets pulled out, then stab, and Mike's like caught by surprise, and then we cut. And if the episode ended there, like, oh no.
Oh God, that would be brutal. I mean, we would know he survived, but still.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, what a cut. But then Mike comes to. He's beaten, very gloves off style. He awakens, yet he's patched up, and he's in this little hut, presumably south of the border. Most likely, he's at Dr. Barry Goodman's place.
Yes.
The recovery spot from seasons 4 and 5 of Breaking Bad.
Very interesting. All right. So there you go, Dragon. There is the end of episode 4. We're all caught up now. Let's do some spec.
All right. Look, I think it's pretty safe to say we're at Dr. Barry's place. We're Dr. Barry's patched Mike up. Like, Fring's probably had eyes on Mike, hence hold Dr. Barry at the ready, basically, I think the whole role of Dr. Barry here is to get Mike, get his head on straight, get him back on track, and also chickens. Remember, because Mike likes to feed the chickens while he's there.
Importantly,
I'm convinced that one of the visual of like Mike getting back to himself is he's gonna be feeding those chickens. It's kind of like a pick me up. Like, let's get Mike something a little happier to do. Let's have him feed the chickens like he did in Breaking Bad. Let's start the level feed the chickens, like feeding the birds, because he's got to feed the birds, man.
Tuppence a bag.
Right. Do you have any spec?
Let's see. In terms of Howard Hamlin, I do think that it's going to be kind of like a pretty nasty falling out. I think Howard Hamlin's probably going to, sort of call Jimmy out. Like, I offered you an olive branch, Jimmy, and you burned it. Basically, like, Howard Hamlin might even declare war on Jimmy. We'll see. But I definitely think that what Jimmy did is kind of a bridge too far, and it definitely burned Howard. So we'll see how that pays off.
Let's see. So we saw in a promo that Saul Goodman is running interference on the construction. So I think Friday's going to roll around and Saul Goodman's going to be on the scene stirring the pot. And this interference is going to lead to all of this because Kim is engineering a defense. Basically, Kim Wexler wants Saul Goodman to win. Basically, kind of wants Saul Goodman to stick at the Mesa Verde so that Mr. Acker gets to keep his house. That's what the grand plan is. And Kim Wexler has Saul Goodman's his own entity, and Mr. Acker kind of hired him on his own accord, so it wasn't me. And basically, this recontextualizes where we thought Wexler v. McGill was going to go, in part.
Oh, yeah.
So, Wexler v. McGill, Wexler v. Goodman, I'm stupid, sorry. Wexler v. Goodman is, that's going to be episode 6. So next episode is 5. That's Dedicato Max, which I think is going to be. Obviously, we're going to be. I wonder if Dr. Barry is going to try to get Mike out of his stump by relaying the story about Gus Fring. And fun fact. So there was a scene shot last season that they didn't use that they might use this season, much like they did with the whole flashback of Jimmy McGill, young Jimmy McGill and his father. They had it for season 1, but they put it in season 2. So what I think they're going to do is there was a scene where you're going to see Gus Fring meet Dr. Barry, and I think that's what we're going to see next episode. That's what I'm thinking of it. Anyway, so Kim Wexler of it all, I think with the Wexler Goodman of it all, she's going to see the monster that she created at play, and she's going to get what she wants, but she's going to be terrified by how she gets it, and that's going to lead to episode 7, which is JMM, which I think is going to be episode 7 and 9 are always the big, huge kind of tentpole episodes of the season. That's going to be our big whatever is going to happen, Howard Hamlin's going to blow up, and Jimmy McGill is going to be dead, and Saul Goodman's going to be fight. There's going to be no Jimmy McGill left after JMM.
Sure.
Let's see. Mike is on the phone with Jimmy saying, "So you're a lawyer again." So I think Jimmy's going to enlist Mike's help in this in this affair, but before Mike goes back to Fring, goes back to work. It's a little respite before he goes back to fully working for Fring. And lastly, Mesa Verde. They're going to be unhappy. So it looks like Kevin Wachtel is going to be wise to what Kim's doing, and he's going to be really unhappy with her based on the promo.
Well, I mean, I would think so, because, when you think about it, they must know that Jimmy and Kim are, together, right?
They do. Remember, like, he gave his condolences about Chuck McGill, because he
exactly, right, right.
Put the pieces together, and he sent him, like, the sympathy stuff.
Sure. So, yeah, I was going to say, like, there's got to be some blowback there.
Kim was giving an impassioned speech. We didn't see to who, but it looked like we were inside the building of Schweikert and Coakley. So my theory, Kim gets fired from Schweikert and Coakley because of this whole Mesa Verde affair. And this is going to lead to her finally doing what Jimmy McGill always wanted, starting the business with Saul Goodman. And I think that's where we're heading. Okay.
All right, you want to make a phone call? You want to do some final thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Let's make a phone call.
Okay, what do you got?
All right, let's check in with America's favorite lawyer. Let's check in with 505 842 5662.
Phones? Well, I've got a surprise for you. The phone guy is no longer just the phone guy. I'm the law guy, your law guy. That's right, Saul Goodman, attorney at law. You meet the law, you want the law to meet me. Leave a message after the beep. I'll get back to you before you sleep.
Right. Oh, I don't know, Dragon. I'm pretty I'm pretty sold out after these podcasts, so I don't really have many final thoughts. I do think that this is a good stepping stone towards where we're going to go with the Wexler and McGill of it all. I got to admit, I kind of missed Lalo this episode. I kind of missed Lalo, especially after he was really on fire in episode 3. But, yeah, this episode, like I said, just a nice stepping stone, a lot of dramatic stakes kind of being set up. It's a chess piece episode, but in the best of ways, I would say. All right.
All right, final thoughts for me. Gordon Smith working his magic with a very solidly directorial debut. I love everything we're doing with with Hamlin and using him as Saul Goodman's gray matter kind of opportunity for change. I love that so much. Smith's signature. We see Smith's signature style in the whole compelling Mike scenes. I thought those were really good. Sure, we're going to go somewhere really fun with that. We're going to go some really good dramatic places with that, potentially, with him, his healing process next episode. So I love that Gordon Smith kind of teed all that up. Theme of the episode definitely seems to be kind of like these peaceful greetings with, kind of surface level acceptance with kind of these layers of dissatisfaction. We see, Jimmy with Hamlin's offer, where again it's like kind of a casual lunch, which obviously leads the bowling balls through the windshield. Gus Fring, with the whole $1 million bath of it all and everything going on with Lyle, this is acceptable. That whole thing there. Kim with Mesa Verde and the whole situation there, and Saul Goodman is greeting and offer to Mr. Acker. So Mr. Acker. So. Very much kind of the Swiss egg approach, as Peter Gould would say. Swiss egg approach to the plotting with kind of an earnest trust in every way that this is going to go some really good places. And episode 4 was a really solid one, built around some excellent scenes, some excellent stuff put into play. Again, I think we're just going to really, the train's already moving, folks, and now we're just going to barrel into some really awesome locations next episode. And this is a really wonderful way of the first leg into the journey. I love it.
All right, take us out, Dragon.
Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman & Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
And with that, we are adjourned.
We could totally be lawyers.
Totally.
Totally.
It is acceptable.